Hello and welcome to the Gayming Podcast Live. We are back once again. Post-Awards, post-Gayming Awards. It was very exciting. If you didn't join us on Wednesday, go and check out the VOD after the podcast. I'm Robin. I'm the founder and editor of Gayming Magazine. We're here every 2 weeks with our wonderful sort of gaming gossip. And of course, you can catch up with all the latest news and features by visiting Gayming Magazine. But of course, I can never do this alone. So it's a lovely welcome, as always, to the fabulous Mia.
Wait, that's me, right? You said
that's
fabulous.
You. Yeah, that's you. Yeah.
Okay. I thought you were talking about somebody else. Hi, how you doing?
I'm good.
Good evening.
I'm good.
It is just past 9 p.m. in the UK here, and it's very late on a Sunday, so my energy levels are a bit all over the place. But hello. I am so excited to be back again, doing this once again. I always have so much fun doing this podcast. How have you been?
I'm good. I mean, we're still, obviously, for regulars watchers of the show, we've given up on microphones in the Grey household. We're now on the Britney mic because that seems to be the only thing that doesn't cause interference.
At the moment, we'll figure it out.
Well, we're going to have to try some new. We've got a different platform that we can have a little play around with. But what with the awards and everything that we so successfully pulled off this week, I haven't had a chance to figure anything out. So.
I actually co-streamed that with the community.
You did?
It was a lot of fun, especially what was the presenter's name? Names escape me. You know, terrible names.
Susie Ruffle.
Susie Ruffle, yeah, the set that she did, absolutely fantastic.
Okay, but she completely confused most Americans.
Yes, I did notice that.
There were people in the chat. Like, she was going at like 90 mile an hour in a sort of London accent. And like people in the chat were going, what is this? I know it's funny, but I can't understand it.
It was very British. Let's just say that. But I heavily enjoyed it. Like, she was such a great addition to, especially even more queer representation in there too.
Absolutely.
Fantastic.
Absolutely. And of course, you couldn't see her, but we also were joined by the wonderful Shay Thompson, lending her voice and her sort of POC queerness to the proceedings as well.
The lovely Shay Thompson. We had her on a while ago now, wasn't it? How long ago was that?
Just before Christmas. It was for the nominee reveal.
Thought it was more recent than that. That's crazy. Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's nice that we can have so many wonderful people join us, though. And just as a quick reminder for those of you joining us right now live in chat, you can interact with the podcast both here in Twitch chat while we're live and over in a special section on the Gayming Magazine Discord, which you can get to by going to gaymingmag.com/Discord. Make sure you check that out. It's always a fun time. There's lots of things to do when we're not doing the podcast as well. So make sure you check that out. Speaking of super wonderful special guests, this week, funnily enough, we just so happen to have the winner of the title LGBTQIA plus Streamer of the Year for the Gayming Awards 2021. And let's check out the moment that they won.
Media Matt.
Yes, Media Matt.
Mia Bite.
I don't know if I'll win, but I am
excited
to just be nominated.
And the winner is DEERE.
Oh my god, thank you so much. My mic is so fucked up. My mic is horrible. It means the world. I really think that we push.
Please welcome. It's the wonderful DEERE.
Hi. I just want to say really quick, the announcer says Mia Bite and just nothing, like there's nothing that crosses my face. I don't say a thing. I have to tell you, I was super nervous and I felt sick. So that's why I did.
I wasn't going to bring that up, but it was Meteor Matt, and you're like, yes, Meteor Matt, and it was Mia Bite. I was like,
the thing with Meteor
Honestly,
Matt,
if you hadn't mentioned anything there, I wouldn't have even known. It's fine.
We're feuding, apparently, based on my face.
We're definitely feuding. Yeah, I'm so angry at you right now. Let's start the fake drama because that's good for,
that's what you get the money.
So,
we'll get some clicks. Yeah. Well, with Meteor Matt was like one of my first supporters ever. Like when I was when I had no viewers at all, Meteor Matt would come and say hi to me in my chat. So I know him from 4 years ago. So I was just like, oh my gosh. Same with Biggest Bennis, who was also nominated.
Ben's he's lovely.
I know a lot of the nominees.
Yeah, all of whom are absolutely wonderful, minus myself, but everybody else.
No, including you. You're amazing. To keep the drama, yes.
Yeah.
Right.
No, we're totally fighting.
Let's keep the tension going. How have you been? How's been 2, 3, 4 days of being LGBTQ Streamer of the Year?
It's just crazy. I'm so like, I meant it in the clip where I said I'm just like happy to be there. I'm happy to be nominated. Like, it's an indescribable feeling to feel recognized, especially with a group of people that so many of them, I know them and I respect them. And I don't know if I feel like on the same level as all of them. And so it's just an honor. It's a complete honor. And I'm so humbled and proud.
Because you were co-streaming with DEERE as well, weren't you? You were sort of squad
I was co-streaming with myself.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And I was also
bitch pudding.
With bitch
Sorry, Sunday night.
Now Robin and DEERE are fighting.
No, it's fine.
Now we've got more drama.
Well, you were right. I was streaming with myself. I was there.
Yeah.
I was there on screen. I was there in person.
What were you trying to say, Robin? What were you trying to say?
I was just saying, like, you were co-streaming with bitch pudding.
There we go.
You were watching along and you were chatting a bit because I had like 3 screens set up in front of me. I had like the output on this one. I had the Twitch stream on that one. Because I knew what was coming, I actually had my iPad in front of me with your stream. So I was actually watching most of the show through your
hovering
stream.
over the clip button, clearly.
Yes. Basically, yeah. Waiting for the clip.
I asked Bitch Puddin because I was like, because we're both nominated and we're both sisters, like we're really good friends. And I just, when it comes to like you asked me to be on a podcast, no problem. I'm fine. I feel like normal, feeling good. But since I was up for an award, I felt like sort of sick over it when I woke up that day. I was like, oh my God, I just feel nervous and I feel gross. And I was texting Bitch. I was like, do you want to be on a call? Do you want to like join me? And I asked her several times and I was like, she doesn't want to. But then like a half hour before she was like, yeah, let's do it. She was in the middle of whatever she was doing. And it was really nice to share that moment with her. Cause I was, again, like, I just felt nervous and felt gross. And it was nice to have my sister there that was also nominated. And she was so kind and hyping me up when I won. Like, and I was hoping to be that for her had she won. Because she's iconic. I was rooting for her. I myself voted for her. So I wanted anyone that was nominated to win, but I really wanted her to win too. And she wanted
definitely. You definitely want your good things for your friends.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, my good Judy.
Yeah.
But it was so nice to share that moment with her too, especially because her stream for some reason was ahead of mine. I had like a 10-second delay and she was like, okay, they're going to announce the winner. I'm going to mute. And then I muted too. So she knew already and she's just waiting for me to get on the call.
But I think she knew ahead of time as well. Like I was really scared that I might have given the game away because we were booking in guests and I knew we were going to be doing this podcast. I knew who'd won. Because we did the edit. Because we did the edit, and I needed you to sort of book yourself in to be here. So I kind of thought, like, is me booking her in for 3 days for the immediate podcast straight after the awards? Is that going to be a complete spoiler?
Now that you've said it, people are going to know in the future when the awards are coming up again.
Well, we might
be giving the game
differently.
away now.
Well, we had several calls before, like, because we don't talk every day, but we talk like a few times a week, like good friends. And she had mentioned like the day before or a few days before, she was like, well, you're booked for the Sunday after. And like, I had told her that like I told her that I had to re-record because I didn't accept my speech right. Like I didn't accept the award right. So I told her and she was like, well, I didn't have to re-record mine. So you probably won. And I'm like, well, I think you won.
No, it was more the fact that you said the wrong thing.
Yeah, it's just like
That was fine.
instructions go over my head. Like it takes me a few tries. If anyone wants to hire me for like a CoverGirl commercial, it takes me a few tries. Just like any of the top models.
Yeah, totally, absolutely. Cool. We'll come back to chatting more with you specifically about sort of the stream and about everything else.
Absolutely.
But let's kick off the podcast with our usual topics of the games we've been playing recently. Mia, how's Genshin been?
Genshin's been fun. Yeah. I've actually been
telling.
playing a lot less Genshin recently. I've been trying to do like all my dailies and stuff, like at least, and then pretty much dropping it for everything else. But no, I've played all sorts at the moment. So I actually played. I've had a packed last 2 weeks, so there's a lot for me to go through. I played Superliminal, which is fantastic. First of all, played that game. It's a very it's a first person puzzle game where you're playing around with perspectives of things in order to solve puzzles and like progress. Like you go from room to room, you have to solve each of the puzzles. Very kind of Portal-esque. I'm not sure if you've ever played that. Kind of like, but it has the feeling. It reminds me of the Beginner's Guide. I'm not sure if you ever played that one either. No, so that was kind of like a walking simulator. Yeah, but essentially it's like kind of like a little bit wacky and like warpshire. Like you have to think outside of the box in order to solve these puzzles. Sometimes quite literally, actually, because you'll see an item like an orange or something, and the game teaches you very early on that if you pick that up and say move backwards, wherever that is in your vision, it'll just become that size in the environment. It's super hard to explain, but it's like you can change the size of objects based on
I'll be honest, I'm
perspective.
completely not following.
Yeah, well, anyway, it's a fantastic puzzle game, well worth it, and it has a really good message behind it about like I don't want to spoil anything though, but it's definitely worth playing. I think it's just on the Epic Store at the moment, which is kind of, I'm not sure if it is on Steam, but I played it on the Epic Store because that's the code I was given. But it's a fantastic experience, and I would definitely recommend it. Now, a very different experience that I had this past 2 weeks was more along the line of self-torture, and that's because I jumped into a very specific set of Super Mario Maker 2 levels. Made by the wonderful Ross O'Donovan, otherwise known as Rubber Ninja, Super Rubber Ross World. He's quite known for like making very, very difficult Mario Maker levels. And essentially now what you can do in Mario Maker 2 is make whole like worlds upon worlds and make your own little game, essentially.
Wow.
I've been trying to get my way through that, and I have screamed a lot. More than I ever have like playing something like Dead by Daylight or a horror game. Like it's been infuriating, but I've been like loving every minute of it. It's been absolutely fantastic. So definitely worth playing that if you do like platformers. Other than that, we did a charity stream on Friday. I played Danganronpa 2. Started doing a charity playthrough of Danganronpa 2 with a bunch of voice actors. I got a bunch of people that are involved in the industry. So we jumped into the game. We all gave ourselves assigned roles. I got to do my Monokuma voice, which is always fun. And we ended up raising around £1,000 for charity. It was
very good.
It was fun. It was like a very laid back experience as well. So I wasn't actually expecting to raise any money, honestly. But it was absolutely probably the most fun I've ever had streaming, just hanging out with a bunch of cool people and just making fun of each other in silly voices. So you can definitely check that out on the Twitch channel as well if you want to check that out.
Sorry, which charity were you fundraising for?
Oh, I was literally about to say Special Effect. It was Game Blast this weekend.
Oh, nice.
It's still Game
yes, it
Blast
was.
this
Yes, it was. As it was.
So yeah, that's Special Effect, and what they do is that they aid the physically disabled in getting access to like video games and technology, just basically improving their quality of life. So it was a fantastic charity to support. I actually know a fair few people from who are involved in the organization. So it was great to be able to do that too. Then it was my birthday yesterday.
Happy birthday!
Thank you. So we ended up playing Valheim on the birthday stream. A little bit of Genshin.
Can't stay away.
Couldn't resist.
Have you played Valheim? Has anybody played Valheim?
No.
No. Okay, so it's interesting. I didn't enjoy it at the very beginning because it's another like survival game, kind of like Minecraft. But this is like Viking Minecraft. It's got a very retro, kind of like old PC game, PS1 era graphic look.
Oh, my boyfriend's been playing that.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Like you can I wouldn't recommend playing it solo unless you really like those games. But personally, like I jumped in with a bunch of friends, like some of the moderators, and we've just been like building stuff and going after monsters and things. It was so much fun. And other than that, it's been a bit of a packed week actually. Other than that, like there was WandaVision yesterday.
Yes.
I'm not going to talk about it, but it was as usual. It was fantastic. And I was actually a little bit worried because I feel like nothing that they do now can kind of live up to the expectation, the hype that's behind this.
They've kept it going. I was so happy with that episode. And it's so really, really clever the way they used it to basically develop backstory for Wanda.
Yeah. Again, not going into spoilers.
Oh, okay.
Fantastic episode.
It was Friday. It's Sunday now.
I know, but they don't do the spoiler thing until Monday, and I don't want to spoil things for people. So.
I haven't watched it at all, but I love that.
Exactly. So Think of our guest.
If you really want to spoil it, I haven't watched it, so I haven't lost anything by getting invested. But
it's fine.
You definitely should. It's so good.
Yeah.
But I love X-Men, so I do want to watch it.
Even for sort of friends of mine who are very casual sort of Marvel fans, like they haven't obsessed over every single film, but they've caught the odd one or two. Like it really does sort of play into some of the backstory of a lot of the films, but they were able to watch it as a very standalone kind of thing. It brings you along with enough of what it needs to bring you along with. But yeah, no, it's super, super amazing.
At this point, I'm just really hoping that they stick the landing because they've built it up so much now.
I think they will. Like they've had years to sort of figure this out. And it's less about the landing. I think it's more about the springboard going forward because Wanda's off to the next Doctor Strange movie. So she's already that's confirmed. So I think it's actually going to bounce forwards rather than just trying to stick the landing in terms of that sort of thing. So
I read that everyone is booked for Doctor Strange, the sequel.
Yeah. There's a lot of people starting to show up, and they haven't managed to sort of bat away the rumors around there being multiple Spider-Mans in the next Spider-Man either, like having Andrew Garfield back and having Tobey Maguire back. Yeah. So all the old actors coming back because I think my sort of personal thoughts about where the whole sort of WandaVision's going is that this is going to break open the multiverse. And then that will be how they start playing with it in Spider-Man. Then obviously Doctor Strange gets involved because the whole title of the film is The Multiverse of Madness. So I think it really is going to be, I think this is going to be the jumping off point for Phase 4. But
yeah, time to get those Disney Plus.
Time to undo the one where they all died.
Yeah, pretty much. Just bring everybody back.
It's that time.
Yeah. I've been playing Hades. I shouldn't.
Really?
I shouldn't admit the fact that I haven't actually played Hades, but I was genuinely inspired by our multi-award-winning Game of the Year and Readers Award winner Hades, and I didn't think I'd like it, and I didn't think that'd be quite my cup of tea. But I realized when I was watching some gameplay that it's a lot like Diablo, and I adore Diablo.
Yes, Diablo.
And so for me, like, I sort of thought, okay, well, I'll give it a go. And the whole theory I thought it was actually quite really clever how you have to die because that's how you get better buffs and retool and go again sort of thing. So I actually find that quite interesting.
And
also
I had so much fun with it when I played it. How far have you gotten through it, kind of? Do you know, like, have you cleared any of the areas, or? I kind of want to get a gauge on how far you've gotten.
I think I've run it about 10 times now. So I don't think I've gone very far.
Has it still been the same environment?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
okay,
still
so in the first section. All right.
Yes,
all right,
still
okay.
pillars and walls and doors and whatever else.
I'd like to hear more about your feelings if you continue to play it.
I will. I'm
Next
not.
time.
I think the good thing is because it is literally so. You can just jump into it, play it for a bit, and then drop it. Like you don't have to sort of. It kind of suits my busy life of being able to sort of like just quick grab and go and have a quick. I'll just die quickly in Hades and then get back on with my day.
Get that out of the way.
Yeah, exactly. Get a bit of death in early. It'll be fine.
I have not played that game, but the colors, the characters,
worth it.
It's just like, oh my god! Like
it's
like,
the art style's
mouth-watering, the
beautiful.
look of it.
Yeah.
and
The
so
art
many
style's
hot
beautiful.
guys and gals. and
Zagreus.
pals and that.
Zagreus is exactly my kind of twink, and that's a little insight into me. But no, if you're Greek, then hit me up. No, if what I liked about it is obviously the because they set it in obviously the Greek gods and everything. They really kind of loosened up when it came to sort of portraying genders and roles and sexualities and whatever else. They really kind of embraced the Greek mythology side of things, which is really, really cool. So, because obviously the Greeks had like 7 different definitions of the word love, as in how they interpreted it back in the days, and to sort of like try and bring that into the game, I thought was like a really, really cool thing. And look, that it's not just us. Obviously, the Hades has been multi award winning for games of the year and stuff, just purely on the art style and the sort of the playability of it. It's absolutely beautiful. So, but yeah, unfortunately, that has been my only game that I've played over the last 2 weeks because I've been a little bit busy, obviously, with the Gayming Awards.
That's a good choice.
Definitely.
Yeah, I was really inspired by because obviously been all the editing and everything else. I've been watching the clips over and over again, and I sort of thought, you know what, I'm just going to grab that. So I played it for a bit, and it was really cool. Yeah. How about you, dear? What's been playing on your?
Well, my go-to is always Dead by Daylight when I'm not sure what to play. I love Dead by Daylight. I just love how you can customize your perks, you can customize your cosmetics, you can play with friends, you can play alone. Like I love it so much. And I'm a Fog Whisperer too, so I sort of have to play it, but I enjoy it. I look forward to playing it. I love it. Except with this new patch.
I've heard this has been a little bit controversial these last couple of updates, right?
The previous update where they gave a new UI, they gave a new animation set, like they did all these different reworks. It was so killer sided, like literally, like you would look at the killer and then you'd be hit, like from like you could be anywhere and the killer would find you and hit you even if you were far away. And I appreciate it as a mediocre killer. I appreciated it to a certain extent, but with this newest patch, like they changed the hitboxes even more than the game has ever had. So like you have to be close enough for a kiss, bitch. You have to be up in their grill to be able to even get the hit at all. And like as I like to play as the pig because she's cute and I like her sound effects and she's got a little saw and she can wear leather. She can have this outfit that I'm wearing. She's one of the slower killers. Like I haven't looked at the stats, but I know that she's like on the lower side of speed, and I can't. Like someone runs away from me, I'll never catch up, and all of her moves are just messed up. Like I just feel so powerless, but I still enjoy playing it. It's just a little at a time. Like I can't play as killer the whole time with this new patch.
Yeah.
I have to be like, okay, time to go to Survivor. I have more chance to like feel good and feel my fantasy as a Survivor.
Do you allow survivors to boop the snoot when you're playing as the pig?
With this, previously, yeah, sure, why not? Sure, why not? It's cute. But with this newest patch, like I cannot afford to not slap somebody that's right in front of me. Like if they're running, I will never get to them. So if they're like, ooh, I'm gonna try to boop the snoot, I will take that as a hit. Thank you for the free hit. I'll never get one on you again, but thank you. I'll take the points. But I love Dead by Daylight. Even with the frustrations, it's still so much fun. And I feel like I'm not the worst player. So I still it's not like always completely just like face through the mud, drag through the mud.
I'm actually super interested to ask you, with the changes that have happened recently, is Freddy still a nightmare to play against, if pardon the pun, in general?
Yes.
Like, because like whenever I played it a while back now, it's probably like 6 months ago or more now, but I hated going up against Freddy. He was like, it just every time it just floor us. Is that still the case?
Yes.
Wonderful.
Yes, he has one of the farthest reaches just as a character. So his claw, it extends and it grazes your body, no matter what. No matter, they have to rework him and the cannibal, which is Leatherface, and the doctor. Like, those three are just the trifecta of cheating. I feel like they're cheating. If you play as them, you're cheating. Besides being frustrated in Dead by Daylight, I have also been loving Little Nightmares 2. It's very cute.
I played that too, and I completely forgot. It's so good.
Cute. I loved it. Did you ever walk around holding hands? Because that was my.
I did. Yeah. As soon as I found that mechanic, I'm like, okay, you're my friend now. We're just gonna stay together constantly. Come on.
And it's supposed to be like you drag them to like the task or whatever. No, we're just holding hands. We're just friends.
Exactly. Yeah.
So cute.
Friends forever.
That's on my list, I have to admit.
It's adorable. Well, it's disturbing and adorable. So it's like, have you ever seen the music video? What was it? It was Phil Collins' band.
Land of Confusion.
Yes.
From Genesis.
Yeah, Genesis. Yes. The whole game looks like the puppets of the celebrities.
Yeah, the spitting image puppets. Yeah.
Everyone in that game is Ronald Reagan in puppet form, in Muppet form.
Yeah, it's absolutely horrifying as a game, but it is so much fun with the puzzle solving and just general platforming elements. I had a little bit of issue myself with like some of the depth perception in that game. Maybe that was just me, but like I kept not making jumps and stuff like that because I was out of line or something, because it's like one of those 2.5D games. So you primarily go left and right, but there is actually some depth to it too. So you can move around the environment like in 2 dimensions, I guess. Wait, three dimensions? 3 dimensions, yeah, 3 dimensions. Left, right, and then into the 3 dimensions.
I feel you completely, because like it's like, oh, jump and grab this rope, sure, but then I miss it and I break my face.
That happened to me so much. It was unbelievable. But like the story and the narrative that they kind of like crafted there, it just leaves you like asking so many questions, especially if you've played the first one. Just after it's all over and you're like, okay, so this answered some things, but it's like generally answered none of the questions that I wanted answered from the first game, and it's just brought so many more questions into it. But I just want more at this point. Like I want more like DLC. This is one of the games that I would love to see DLC for, personally.
The first one had some DLC, so I imagine that they'll try to suck us dry with it.
Fingers crossed.
I mean, take my money.
Fingers crossed for sucking dry.
I will say, the only problem that I had with the game, other than the depth perception thing, was they tend to like introduce certain mechanics into sections, but after that section of the game is over, they kind of abandon those mechanics completely. So you have like a torch in one section and like a remote in another section, which have to do with the puzzles. But after you're done with that section, they mysteriously break, and then due to like circumstances, and then that mechanic is just abandoned. I would have liked to have seen like a little bit of remix of those mechanics towards like the end of the game, like putting everything that you've learned together would have been cool, but they didn't do that.
I completely agree with you. I think of like mentally, I think of that as like a Mario syndrome. It's like you get the Tanuki suit in the level for the Tanuki suit, you get the penguin suit in the penguin level, like, you know, all of your power-ups are the context of what they give you in the first 3 seconds of that level. And so I also don't like that when platformers do that. It's like, and I felt like that reminds me of Batman Arkham City. Like they give you all these different tools, and then like you only use them in these little places. So like, why even have the tools at all?
Yeah.
I like when it's sprinkled around.
That was like when I was playing, you played Red Dead 2. you spend the entire game like crafting everything, getting all your guns upgraded, spending like loads of. I spent a lot of money on the cosmetics of like I wanted all gold guns just for extra points.
So fancy.
Yeah, getting your horse sort of upgraded and everything else. And then
you get a gold horse. Can you get a gold horse or something?
Well, I had gold bits on my saddle, but let's not go into that. But no, there's a bit at the end of the sort of spoilers, and I apologize. About 2/3 of the way into the game, where you get kidnapped and taken off to an island, and literally lose everything. And I was raging, and I was sort of swearing at it, going, "It better be there waiting for me when I get back." I don't know how I was going to get back. Like the whole point of the story is you got sort of you were shipwrecked basically. And you end up on this sort of island that you have to start practically from scratch with like old guns again.
I kind of like love and hate that though in video games. Like they do that in like several different video games.
Yeah,
it's get to a point.
It's a very Rockstar. It is a very Rockstar thing to do. I don't mean Rockstar as in Rockstar. I mean the brand. Because
it's so punk. Going to an island is so punk.
Yeah, it is. No, they did it in some of the Grand Theft Autos as well. Like they had this weird sort of this weird mid kind of game sort of sidebar where they sort of strip everything away from you and change everything up. But luckily, you get put back to the mainland again, and somehow they've sort of like, oh, we've got your horse, and it's full of all the guns and stuff. And it's like, yes, my gold guns.
Oh, thank goodness.
Yeah, exactly. If I'd have lost all of that, I would have been pissed. But no, it's sometimes like particularly with platformers, like you're learning all these skills and stuff, and then you suddenly can't use those skills at a time where you think you should probably have to use those skills, and it just gets a bit frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, go on.
Sorry, I just from a design perspective, it's like nice. It feels more like an experimentation type thing. More so than anything else, or it always strikes me as, oh, did they run out of time and did they like rush? This is another thing I've heard about Little Nightmares 2 as well, is that potentially the ending seems like it was a little bit rushed out the door towards the end. So maybe, again, this is why I'm hoping that in the DLC they'll actually take those concepts and like put them together, because they'll be telling different stories. That's what they did for the first one anyway. They had like different playable characters. So I'm just hoping that they do that, because that would be so cool if they're like combining teleport. Well, I'm not going to spoil anything, but like the teleportation mechanics and other stuff that they have in there. So yeah, that'd be.
I would love a DLC so much for Little Nightmares. Just to see more, to see more of that world, because it's so enthralling to explore it.
Well, I actually recently learned that there's comic books for Little Nightmares as well.
I heard that, and there's also a mobile game.
Yeah, jump in. There's a mobile game too. I didn't know that one. Oh my god! Okay,
it's called Littler Nightmares or something like that. It's something
the littlest nightmare.
Yeah, but it's I haven't played it. I've only seen pictures, and it looks like it's sort of like the Hitman and Tomb Raider game, where it's like you just like sort of direct them to figure out a puzzle and like push or interact with things. It looks good.
That's cute.
I definitely want to check that out. Yeah, I need more Little Nightmares in my life. Not literally, but just in general.
Just more Littler Nightmares.
Well, you've got one little nightmare sat on the shelf behind you, but he's not being that much of a nightmare at the moment.
No, he is conked out at the moment. My kitty cat. Yeah, he's completely asleep. So yeah.
Oh well.
I'm thankful for that right now, because he's not trying to climb on the ring light. So
yeah, because normally he's above the monitor smashing shit down, isn't he?
Oh no,
Machi, the littlest nightmare. Yeah.
Let's move on. I want to talk about the Gayming Awards, obviously.
Oh,
as
really? You want to talk about the Gayming Awards?
Sat here.
That old bit
of news. No, so obviously for those people that missed it, the Gayming Awards, if we hadn't mentioned it already, took place on Wednesday. The VOD exists here on Twitch on our channel. You can watch all that back.
Yes.
We also have the category breakdowns on our YouTube channel as well, so you can go and check that out at your leisure. But I thought we'd have a quick, a little wander through the categories, talk about who won, people that sort of nominated, and any close run things. The the first category of the evening that was presented was the best LGBTQ narrative category, and that was won by If Found. And if you haven't played If Found, go and play If Found.
All right, okay, I'll be right back.
Okay, bye. It's genuinely something that we didn't even rehearse that. It's a very, very unique game about the trans experience. You kind of play as an eraser, and you kind of have to erase journal entries. There's a little bit of sci-fi in there, but it's a beautiful, beautiful little indie game made here in the UK, in Northern Ireland.
Nice.
Yeah, I didn't know that part of it. That's wonderful. That's great. Like, like so many people, especially like were telling me before the awards that I should definitely give it a go. And I'm kicking myself that I haven't now, especially when I have to talk about it on a podcast. But yeah, no, I did see some of the gameplay for it, and like, and it looks like visually, it's stunning.
The art style is stunning. Yeah.
I was looking at the Steam reviews, and it's just like, I've never played a game that's like spoken to me so emotionally. And I'm like, damn, I need to actually jump in and give this a go, especially if it's a game about the trans experience. Obviously, I'm very interested in that. Being a trans woman myself, I want to jump into that and definitely give that a go, because again, just all round, it looks stunning too, and the gameplay mechanic is erasing memories. Did you say, or is it like erasing parts of memories in the journal?
I believe it's erasing parts of memories in journals. So it's about a journey back home, and sort of found journals, and it's a visual novel. So it's very sort of click through stuff, but there are some mechanics in there about sort of erasing parts of a journal. Erasing parts of yourself.
I imagine like that's just the mechanic to force you back into that person's past and tell that story too. So that seems like a very interesting way of doing it. Yeah.
Definitely, it's actually really cute. Also nominated in that category was Tell Me Why, which is obviously another trans experience game, which is excellent, and won 2 other categories we'll get to in a sec. But no, stunning game as well. Borderlands 3, the DLC, Guns, Love and Tentacles, which celebrated a gay marriage. I'm obviously exceptionally biased. Borderlands is we're talking just before the stream, DEERE and I, about my sort of limited selection of games, and Borderlands is right in the middle of that sweet spot.
Nice.
So I will say that when I was co-streaming it with my chat, somebody in my chat was like, okay, so if Borderlands wins this, everything's obviously rigged and Robin has taken over.
But
then it was just like, oh no, they didn't win. Oh, it's all legit. It's all fine.
I will just say, for the record, there was 25 judges internationally from around the world, and I was not one. So just to avoid it, basically being the Borderlands 3 / Lego festive sort of special.
Exactly. Edition. Like all of a sudden the Lego games are winning every award in the Gayming Awards. It's like, what is going on?
What's going on?
Lego games. They're so cute.
That's literally Borderlands, Lego, Grand Theft Auto. That's kind of that's very much my lane of gaming. And I just apologize for that, but I don't apologize for it because it's amazing.
I wanted the Star Wars one. You know how like they had the Star Wars ones years ago, but then they had like a reboot of Star Wars ones, and you could play as Jabba the Hutt. I just wanted to get it just to play as Jabba the Hutt. I never got it, but Jabba the Hutt is my favorite character. Like when it comes to like fantasy characters, sci-fi characters, non-real characters, Jabba the Hutt is my number one favorite. So I was like, do I get this game just to play as Jabba the Hutt?
Well, fingers crossed on the next one, because there's the Skywalker Saga, Lego Skywalker Saga's out in April.
Ooh,
and it's a complete redo. It's a complete redo, sorry, Mia, of like all 9 games. I'm going to stop talking about Lego.
I was just going to say.
Sorry,
if Jabba's a playable character, how do you play as him? He's a giant slug creature, right? Does he hold a lightsaber with his little hands? And
if I remember rightly, you jump up. You can jump.
Solo. Waving it around. Yeah.
If I remember the commercials, it's like technically it was the same model as the other ones, just like with more like the leg part was extended down, so it looks like he's running, but like he doesn't have legs. It's just a slug tail. But like he's sort of like, you know, like how when you're running, you hop along slightly. He's just hobbling along as a slug.
That sounds amazing.
If it's basically me when I run.
No. Well, you could have a slug tail. I'm not sure.
I've never seen Robin from the waist down, to be fair.
Yes, you have. Yes, you have. Don't tell lies. We've walked through Birmingham City Centre a couple of times.
I'll believe it.
Did we walk? Or did you slither? I can't remember.
Yes. I had a very long coat on.
There was a trail that was being left out.
that was from the night before. Let's move on.
Next category, which Lego
Next
game?
category, please. It was the Authentic Representation Award. We're moving on.
No, I'm moving on. Yeah. And
I'm doing your line. Sorry.
Exactly. And then the winner for that one, surprising no one, is Tell Me Why, which we previously mentioned. Another story about... there's delving back into someone's past, delving back to the trans experience and what effect that has on your family life and just generally how you get older. And it is as far as I can tell, it's a fantastic game. I still haven't played this one either. Microsoft said they were going to send me a code, and then they never did. So a little bit out of spite, I didn't play it. But
it's on Game Pass.
It is.
Oh, it's on Game Pass?
Yeah, it's on Game Pass.
That's awesome. Okay, well, there we go.
Everyone go and get it. It's on Game Pass.
Yeah,
I loved it. I thought it was fantastic.
It's what I loved about it, and I think it's probably why it won the award for authentic representation. Is people have got, I mean, rightly so. It made history off the back of it, but people have got kind of blinkered view over it in terms of like it's just about trans people. It's not. There's actually there's a gay character in there. It's set in Alaska, and it has really good portrayal of Alaskan Native characters as well. So I think the reason it won is they had a lot of different characters in there,
and as far
it was
as
all
I
done
know,
beautifully.
like just because, like, again, it has the trans person as the main character, they're not actually the focus of the story. It just so happens that their experiences relate to what's gone on in their past because they're
absolutely
linked.
Yeah. And it wasn't written as the trans game sort of thing. They didn't when they started working on the game, they had no idea that Tyler was going to be trans.
Exactly.
It was a game they just started writing about twins basically, and one of them coming back and facing up to having been away for a while, and then it kind of got to the point where they sort of realized, oh hey, hang on a second, this character is trans. Like it kind of came naturally, and I think that's what really stood it apart from. They didn't set out to do a trans game. Like they didn't try the whole sort of like the woke agenda.
Exactly.
They just wanted to tell a really good story, and it just happened to be a trans man.
It's almost as if that makes it have even more authentic representation.
Absolutely.
I wonder if it could have won an award because of that. It did, yes.
It did.
Which is exactly what I'm talking about.
It did. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I will say...
Yep.
The other people who were up to that, by the way, just because I didn't mention it, were also Hades, because of course Hades. Later Datas, and it was so fun to see the theme tune playing.
I've had that stuck in my head for 3 months.
It's so
that game
good.
looks so cute.
It's ludicrously cute.
And Last of Us 2 again. It's nice to see it getting included in different categories, but honestly, it was quite refreshing that some of the not as AAA games got more got more recognition in the awards.
I think that's what we set out to do, is the fact that we as in the gaming world, obviously we're not treated to that many AAA experiences. So I think for me as well that indie games have always had kind of like the short end of the stick in a way. Like they only get nominated for sort of Special Olympics kind of and the indie game category sort of thing.
Yeah, it's in the indie category only usually. Yeah,
exactly. But I think we wanted to make sure that they've been nominated in categories that they actually deserve to be nominated in. So for obviously for If Found to win the first category and Later Datas to be here, which go and just watch the trailer. That song will be stuck in your head for days.
It is the cutest thing ever.
It's beautiful, and I think that's for people that aren't aware of it. It's a game that's set. It's a dating simulator that's set in an old folks' home, and it's sort of showing that you can have love and have those sort of younger person kind of excitements in later in life, and I think
it's not
it was
just
lovely.
that. It's like you don't have to necessarily go down a romantic relationship route. You can go down a route where you're literally just forging friendships with people, which is a nice thing about that game too. Like again, not everything has to be about getting someone into the sack or
Exactly.
So
I want Granny
that's
to
always
play
nice
it.
to see.
Yes, that would be an
Somebody
amazing
tell
mashup.
Granny to play it.
Yeah, somebody in the chat go into Granny's channel now, and go and suggest she plays Later Daters and say that we sent you.
Yes,
I dare
it'd be
you.
so
Go on.
cute. Mia, I think you should really, really consider playing Tell Me Why, and also If Found, because you liked, because I was picking up on you appreciating the mysteries and learning more from the Little Nightmares, and there's so much to uncover and discover in those two games, especially pertaining to the trans experience. But it's just there's so many mysteries that they throw at you, and it's who done it? Where is this gonna go? And I feel like you'd really love it.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. On one of these podcasts, you'll find me saying, what did you play this week? Well, I played If Found or Tell Me Why. Maybe both in the same week. Who knows? But yeah, I'm getting through my stack of games, so I'll have to add it to the list.
I have such a backlog. Oh my God.
My mods are so mad at me because there are games that I said I would play and I just have not done that. Nobody mentioned Crosscode. I swear to God, if you could... that game. I was gifted a game, and my mods just constantly keep bringing it up, and
it just got mentioned in the chat.
Yes, it did. There we go.
Oh no,
twice.
Okay, god damn it.
They're on to you.
They actually roasted me the other day. On my birthday, they made a video for me. I forgot to mention this earlier, but they just absolutely roasting everything that I've done. It was like a parody version of Ryan George's pitch meetings. I'm not sure if you've ever seen those videos on YouTube.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was basically that, except using characters that I've made in order to take the Mickey out of me. It was fantastic, and I hated every second of it. It was so funny. Yeah.
And that's how they thank you.
That means they love you.
Yeah. Yeah. Best LGBTQ character, was the next one up. And this was Tell Me Why also, because it was Tyler. That's obviously back-to-back wins for Tell Me Why. Exceptionally well deserved again. Tyler is a great character, and I think the fact that I like massive props to Don't Nod for casting and insisting from day one that the second they felt the character was trans, they went off and consulted with GLAAD. They listened. Imagine this, Mia. They listened to
it's crazy.
their staff in who work for Don't Nod. They actually got the staff in, their LGBT staff in, to sort of have some input.
Imagine if other games did that too. CD Projekt Red.
Well, no, you have to work for CD Projekt Red to get involved in it, I suppose. And what was I saying? Oh yeah, and they obviously cast a trans man in the role, which was fantastic.
So hot.
Yeah, he is, absolutely. The wonderful August Black. So, and I believe that he had a lot of input into the development of the character, and to sort of inject a bit of his life experience.
It was so great seeing him accept the award as well.
I was so happy that we managed to pull that off. I'm so happy. Yeah,
So
really touching. Yeah, I think it obviously meant a lot to him. It meant a lot to us, and to sort of make sure that we had him on screen accepting that award was really, really cool. Up for nominations in that category was Andrea Rodea from Final Fantasy VII Remake. I love the fact that somebody in the chat, when it was going on, somebody said, "Oh, I never clocked Andrea as gay," and I'm like, really? What? Are you not paying attention? Like, the whole point of the game is that he puts Cloud in drag and drags him around this fabulous club, and they do a song and dance number, and you didn't think he was gay. So
it's very
someone's not paying
heavy-handed without
attention.
saying it.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure most people
Well, that's
infer
Japan.
it.
So, yeah.
Basically, that is the Japanese way of doing it, unfortunately. Like, you do everything apart from call them gay.
Well, that's the thing. It's like those, there's still like that element of like flamboyancy with the like stereotypes of the 90s, but kind of like updated and making it more modernized. And they did it in a way that wasn't kind of like poking fun at it kind of for the first time, which is really nice to see in that game. And I really appreciated that, especially with that whole sequence, reframing it as,
Hugely, yeah.
Yeah, Andrea said it themselves. It was like, beauty, something about beauty is a concept of which the notions of gender do not apply. And it was, I can't remember the exact phrase, but again, them shifting. I'm not even sure if this was something that just took place in the translation area.
Slight sidebar. It's what really frustrates me with the sort of the Japanese games is that you're never quite sure whether they've localized it with the westernized kind of voice actors for the westernized kind of audience, but they've kept it separate and there's different language use and whatever else for sort of the Asian market, or whether genuinely it is something they've adapted all around and it just is interpreted in different ways.
Well, the way it comes across in the Final Fantasy VII remake, it does genuinely feel like they're making more strides to be more progressive, and it wasn't treated as a joke. That whole section of the game, as it kind of was a little bit in the original, just played up for comedy.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I'm so sorry to interrupt.
No, it's fine. Go ahead. Like, I'm running out of things.
We interrupt each other all the time. Go for it.
I didn't mean to. Just. His character is so empowered and strong and confident, and he's not just like that. Like you mentioned, 90s, 80s before, like it's always the gay characters like, well, hello, like, so flamboyant, but in a comical butt of the joke kind of way. And Andrea is like just powerful and respected in that club. Like everyone loves him and looks up to him, and he's gay as fuck.
Yeah. I mean, even like the standing in the city as being one of like the three heads who decides who gets to go to Darn Corneo's mansion, just having that standing in Wall Market is like a fantastic thing about that character too. It's like given the same power as like the other heads of that area, which is really, really, really cool.
Absolutely. Also up for nomination, yes, it's me again. It was Sir Hammerlock and Wainwright Jacobs from Borderlands 3. Guns
Is that a Lego game?
No, that's Borderlands.
I'm just teasing.
Yeah.
What about Borderlands Lego though? You would lose your mind.
I would lose my
Lego.
shit if they turned out a Lego Borderlands. I'll just book a whole year off. That's me done. My life is literally complete. I can just kill myself. But yeah, I've said it before and I'll say it again. I love the fact that in that DLC, they weren't just written as two really boring characters. They were beautifully written and such that when you went off with Wainwright Jacobs and you left Sir Hammerlock at the lodge, then there was a bit in there. It's set on the eve of their wedding, and there was a kind of dialogue sequence where Wainwright Jacobs was talking about, like, there were some doubts about whether he was good enough for Sir Hammerlock and getting those kind of like pre-wedding jitters and stuff. And it's just like, that was written so authentically, because who hasn't ever really in a relationship sort of sat there and thought, I'm not good enough for them, they could do better than me, etc. And I think to put those kind of layers into a game which is inherently a looter shooter, I thought it was absolutely great, especially
a AAA looter shooter aimed at
absolutely
like a core gamer audience. So
yeah,
it's always nice to see that.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And of course,
I haven't played it, but I just love those names: Sir Hammerlock and Wainwright Jacobs.
Yeah,
they are rich.
In
theory,
Sir Hammerlock's a big game hunter, and he's British because, of course, hunters are British. And Wainwright Jacobs is a big Texan guy who comes from making. He runs a firearms company, basically. Like one of the brands.
Major firearm.
Yeah, one of the brands of guns you can pick up are Jacobs guns, and that's his company.
So they're fucking rich. Cool.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Right.
Yeah. Exactly, and queer as fuck as well. and Ellie from The Last of Us 2 was in there as well. This is going to get a really sort of, you're going to start to notice quite a pattern here that The Last of Us 2 got a lot of nominations and no wins. But I'm kind of okay with that.
I haven't played it yet, but I want to because I love horror games. I haven't played it because when it came out, there was controversy that I didn't want to.
Oh, the exact same reason.
I didn't want to be a part of it.
Shelf,
I just
sealed
I bought
up there forever. Not touched it. It's kind of sad. But
I think we'll talk about that in just a second, because I think when we get to Game of the Year, the absence of The Last of Us 2, I can talk about that. So I think it'll be for that reason. Just moving on then. Oh, it's you again. Sorry, I'm not reading the script.
Yeah, sorry. No, basically,
I'm stealing all your links.
Hey, it's your baby. Like, if you know,
ours, it's shared custody.
I'm the podcast host. This is like, it's your baby. You know what I mean?
Oh, I
the
see.
whole thing is your baby.
True.
So obviously it means a lot to you, the Gayming Awards, and like I love to see it, and I'm really proud. Just to say, I'm really proud of what you've built and how much you've done. So yeah, be proud of yourself and like own it too. You don't have to apologize.
I'm awkwardly British, so let's just get on with that. We can't do pride. Let's just move forward.
Yeah. Wait, I think we should do pride. There's something about being in the LGBT community.
Lots to be prideful for.
Yeah. True.
Yeah. Anyway, after that, we revealed the best LGBTQ indie game winner, and that was also If Found.
I mean, if you're going to win one of the major categories, then it would sort of make sense that you won the indie category as well. Although there were some, each one of those could have won, like in their own right. Like, please, everyone, go and check out the website. Go and check out those games. They are delightful. Ace in Space. Who doesn't want to play as an asexual in space? Like, that's just genius in itself. I'll tell you a funny story about Ekenfell in just a second, but then there's Murder by Numbers, which is a fantastic Picross game, which was set in Hollywood and just full of wonderful, diverse characters. That gave us a headache.
Fantastic art style too.
Beautiful art style. And that gave us a bit of a headache because we were working, obviously the company was Mediatonic, who's behind that. And at the time, even when the awards were first being sort of like, when they released that, they were a tiny little company. Sorry, the screen's wobbling. They were a little company, but then they released last summer Fall Guys, which of course then blew up the whole world. And by the time the judging got round to it, like we were sort of looking at it going, but they're not really what you would call an indie game studio anymore, but under the terms
at the
of
time they were, so
exactly,
yeah, and I think for like the budget and stuff that they built on,
exactly. So we kind of settled with it. But yeah, no. So Ekenfell, whichever way you want to pronounce that, is a brilliantly a lovely little game around magic in a school of wizardry that's just not written by a TERF. Thank you. That's not well, but I don't know why I'm accepting that. But yeah, I'm just owning it. It's my game. No, but we honestly thought I was being spammed because we had this was because we don't pretend to know everything about games. This was one of the categories that was the public nominations, and we had about 900 nominations come in for this category, and 300 of them were for Ekenfell, and I'm sort of like sat there thinking, are we being spammed? Is there some sort of campaign that's been taking place or whatever? But because I'd never heard of it, Amy, my deputy editor, who lives and breathes indie games, has never heard of it, and we did a load of research on Twitter, and it was a huge thing that we'd all slept on. And then when the judges got the codes to download it and start playing it, it's really, really good.
Yeah, I've heard it's fantastic. It's it's the wizarding, witchy, tactical kind of battle game, isn't it? Like, and you're just exploring these people's relationships in that school, which is it's super cool sounding. Especially
it's pixely, it's turn-based, sort of thing. It's done really well.
I still haven't played it. And there's a lot of games.
Is there anything
What
you
have you played?
Genshin Impact,
yeah.
okay, all right. I just love my
It's-
anime boys and anime
it's
girls.
a running joke.
All right.
Yeah.
Waifus and husbandos.
Exactly.
Nobody can blame you.
No, exactly. Particularly in lockdown, you've got to get it where you can, I suppose.
I'm not commenting on that. Jesus Christ, Robin. Jesus. All right.
Moving on, the Industry Diversity Award was won by the wonderful Cypher of Tyre for I Need Diverse Games. Everybody nominated in that category, from the Rainbow Game Jam, who does amazing work each year, producing an international 2-week-long queer game jam, to the Rainbow Arcade. Obviously, you're a member of the Rainbow Arcade, aren't you, dear?
I'm not a part of it, but I'm
making this up.
All of
Yeah.
them.
Okay, I'm making it up. Yeah. So,
I've got plenty of friends on there. And
yeah, I mean, they're huge.
So
obviously.
many people
Yeah.
are in Rainbow Arcade. Like,
It's difficult to keep up with who is and who isn't these days. But yeah, no,
I'll
they
take honorary.
yeah, have an honorary. But no, they do.
we're all honorary members of the Rainbow Arcade.
They've raised like hundreds of thousands of dollars for charity over the last year, and they've only been going like officially for a year anyway. So to do that straight off, and then Yuki, who's the trade body here in the UK that supports video game production, they've been on a real campaign over the last 12 to 18 months of sort of driving forward diversity in the industry from kind of within the industry pushing upwards. So any one of them could have won. It was fantastic. It was absolutely
I think
fantastic.
I would have been so. I'm not mad at anybody winning. Like, if any one of those had won, I'd be like, hell yeah, you get it.
Yeah,
you know, but,
absolutely.
especially with all the work that Cypher has done. It's really great to see. Honestly,
Yeah, absolutely. And she really does. The work that she's put in, and the work that INDG as a non-profit do, is fantastic. Obviously, one of the main things is sort of fundraising to get scholarships out to GDC for young people so they can actually go and get to the Game Developers Conference in San Francisco and really try to get a leg up into the industry that way, as well as 101 other things. But that sort of is the bit that always stands out to me. So, yes.
I will say, after that, we did have the Gaming Magazine Readers Award, and that was for the game that the magazine readers chose, and that doesn't necessarily mean it was an LGBTQ focused game. I know there are some people in the chat who are a little bit confused about it, like that's not. Some of these nominees aren't necessarily LGBTQ plus themed games, and I just had to, like, when I was co-streaming, I had to explain to them as well. Yeah, it's because it was
a favorites one. Yeah,
award, and that was won by everybody's favorite, Hades.
Yep.
Which makes perfect sense. Like, everyone within my community, at least, loves Hades. They were pushing me for so long to like jump into that game. Like, I literally, it's maddening. Like, one of my mods as well is so into that game and like Supergiant games in general. Is literally the reason that I actually played it in the first place, and I'm so glad that I did, because it is a fantastic game. As we've already talked about, all the very cute boys and girls and
It's
the
so gorgeous.
roguelike gameplay.
Absolutely.
It is so gorgeous. I could just look at that game.
In general, like the amount of care that Supergiant put in general, like actually hiring voice actors that aren't the same 5 voice actors that you hear in every other game in the industry, but going out there and like pulling in their own talent and stuff and like generating like new talent and things is absolutely fantastic. In that category, there was also was this also nominated, like user nominated at first?
No, this was the shortlist was drawn up by the writing staff of Gaming.
Yes.
So all of our freelancers put their votes in, and that produced this shortlist, and then the public voted.
Game Magazine, and then the public voted on it. Yes.
It's why it's got some quite left field suggestions in here that took a few people by surprise, but go for it.
So this also include Animal Crossing New Horizons, again, fantastic game, Baldur's Gate 3, Crusader Kings 3, Final Fantasy 7 Remake, If Found, of course, Kentucky Route Zero Act 5, Paradise Killer, Tell Me Why, and The Last of Us Part 2. So yeah.
And if I'm going to go and pick up a game to play next off that list, I'm going to go and pick up Paradise Killer.
Oh, it looks so good. The colors.
The colors were fantastic. It was such a sort of graphical sort of treat. The music's amazing. I have no idea what it's about, but it just looks and sounds really good fun.
It looks
so
cool.
I thought I'm going to jump into it.
I have a question.
Yes.
So the game on everyone's lips is Genshin Impact. Why wasn't that here?
Because Mia wasn't asked.
I wasn't asked. I wasn't a contributor to this list, apparently. So
all of my friends, all they do is like, it's like, hey, what are you up to? Genshin Impact.
It's free.
Yeah, it's like it's odd. I mean, it's a free game, but it's a very good game. But then again, it's a little bit problematic as well with like just the gacha mechanics in there. So I can see why you wouldn't necessarily want that to be on a list of the best game of the year. It can, like, the monetary practices, like a little bit loot boxy, can be seen as a little bit predatory as well. Definitely, if you've got a gambling problem, do not play that game.
I can't play it.
Steal your money.
I can't play it.
Speaking of, my boyfriend wants to know, are you trying to pull Hu Tao? And I don't know what that means.
Oh, definitely. Yes. No. The
I don't know
voice,
don't ask
the voice
me.
actor is Brianna Knickerbocker, who also voices Rem in ReZero, and I love anything that she does. So, which is funny enough, actually. The mods got me a cameo from her for my birthday. So
How cute! That's so cool.
Hu Tao / Rem wishing me happy birthday, which was great. So
that's precious.
So yeah, I'm definitely going to be pulling for that character.
Unofficial reader's choice. Genshin, maybe.
Yes.
Exactly. Unofficial.
Yeah.
It's the honorary winner of the honorary award for best gacha game.
It's like it's Mia's bonus prize.
I have that, I have that responsibility of giving those out. I have permission, of course.
The next award was our Gaming Icon Award. It's the only award that's nominated to someone or something that didn't just do stuff in 2020. This is a historical one, so it's based on the contribution over a period of time, and it went to the fantastic Robert Yang. If you're not familiar with Robert Yang's work, he very much focuses on gay intimacy and sex, basically. But it's always done. I think what sets him apart is that he's always done it from a place of either satire or historical interest. Like his tea room simulator that he did was based around the story of, it's set in the 1960s, of cops, I think it was in Missouri somewhere, that set up a camera to basically entrap gay men when they were trying to sort of get off with each other in the public toilet. And
that's awful. Jesus.
Inadvertently, they created the world's first full-color gay porno. But in doing so, the whole point of what they were trying to do is just they couldn't catch them, so they set a camera up to try and trap them. And I think then Robert's game, which is about trying to avoid the cops and trying to make eye contact with people at the urinals to then suck their gun off. It's sort of skewed. No, you actually suck their gun because again, and this is why I don't. Okay, so Robert Yang. He doesn't.
That is satire.
You can't play, and like I was sort of like I cropped up in your chat during the awards. Actually, did that you can't play his games on Twitch. They've banned him from Twitch.
I was actually a little worried when some of the gameplay
me
started
too.
popping up.
I was actually genuinely.
Do I hide this or
and I was sort of like going, oh God, I didn't tell Twitch this was coming. I was really concerned about it, but then. It's the funny thing is, if you actually sort of sit and look at it, you can play games on Twitch that are sort of ripping people's guts out. You can play games on Twitch that have, this is obviously not just Twitch; it's platforms in general. There's so much sort of sex and unconsenting stuff and whatever else. Whereas his games, they actually have a consent mechanism. So it could be one of his games is like you have to sort of like wash a guy's back in a shower. Another game is a BDSM simulator. Again, you don't see much. Like there's no sort of, it's not full sex. Each game he produces has a consent mechanic. So you have to actually seek consent as part of the game before proceeding. And I just think it's so respectful and it's so well done that it actually sort of pales in comparison to some of the stuff that's not banned on Twitch or anywhere else. Yet his stuff, because it's obviously gay shit, seems to get the sort of the bad end of the deal.
Yeah, I will say, like, I'm not going to say it's a uniquely, like, American problem, but it just seems more at the forefront over there. And obviously Twitch is an American company, probably, like, just goes along with this as well. But violence seems to be okay in all forms of media, but, like, any form of, like, sexuality in general is like the hammer comes down hard for a lot of that stuff. And that's generally on, as far as I know, that's generally on TV and film and stuff like that. So,
yeah.
It's
a bit weird.
It's weird because I was born in the 80s, so I grew up in the 90s, and like the 80s was very liberal with sex, or at least trying to be, like, especially in film. And then like slowly like transitioning from 80s to 90s to 2000s to modern, it's like it's going backwards in terms of sexual expression, even though like ads and stuff still use sex to sell things, but it's like it's still so censored. But I mean, it's good and
I
bad.
think it's like a weird, like, think of the
weird
children type thing that started getting pushed more into the 90s, and like the whole stranger danger type scenarios that started cropping up, and like protecting children that way. That might be part of it. I have no idea, honestly, but I'm just like theorizing at this point of why did the US go down this route? But that's not what this podcast is necessarily.
It's not. Let's not talk about the politics of all of that.
Sorry for the USA. That's all.
That's okay.
Generally speaking,
we were somewhat responsible as well. So
move on to Game of the Year.
So the Game of the Year winner was was this public vote?
This was judged.
Yeah. So this was judged. This was, funnily enough, continue as you mean to go on. Hades also won this award. So it was the public decided, and it won amongst the Gaming Magazine staff as well. Also in this category was, again, Animal Crossing, Final Fantasy VII Remake, and Tell Me Why.
We've talked.
Fantastic to see Hades.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Cleaning up.
And not the only Game of the Year award they've won over the past year. They've been sweeping the boards, and they're nominated, I think, for the BAFTA Game of the Year coming up as well.
I am going to say I was so pleased to see it winning so much here, because I was a little bit like put out from other awards shows to see it like snuffed out of a few of those awards that it was up for. So yeah, I was really happy when I.
I said I'd mention it earlier. I don't want to sort of drag on because I notice our time is running. But the notable omission from that, of course, is The Last of Us 2.
Yes.
And I was going to mention it. No, not for Game of the Year. And the judges, I believe, they decided that the Game of the Year shouldn't just be a technically good Game of the Year. It should be an ethically good Game of the Year.
Yes,
and so The Last of Us 2 didn't make the list because obviously there is a huge amount of drama around the production side of it.
Mm-hmm. From an ethics point of view, I can completely see why it's not there with like their use of crunch in general, just alone. Like, do you really want to be awarding a studio, even if the end product ends up being fantastic, for putting developers through something which is, most people can say, yes, this is a bad practice, and it ends up hurting developers, both in the short term and over the long term as well, and hurting your own studio too. Because on your next title, if you've crunched developers and they decide to leave, your next one's not going to be as good. So
exactly.
So honestly, I can see why you wouldn't want to reward that.
Yeah, and it was an interesting choice, and I remember the chat going on at the time in the judging in the judges' Discord. It was kind of like, should we do this? Should we do that? And it was like, I'm personally quite glad they came down on that side of the argument. Last but not least, of course, it was the LGBTQ Streamer of the Year.
Who won that? I can't. I'm not sure.
That one.
I'm not sure.
One by this little one here. Otherwise nominated, as we mentioned earlier, was Biggest Bennis, Bitch Pudding, Cypher of Tyre, Evilicious, Fox Queen, I Am Brandon, John, Little Legs TV, Mermaid Queen Jude, Meteor Matt, Mia Bite. I can never get these pointing things right. Psyche and Queer God. It's a question for both of you, because of course I can ask this question for both of you. How did it feel when you were nominated? Mia, obviously, we pulled a trick on you, didn't we?
Yeah,
a little,
yeah.
just
You
a
told
little,
me that
a little bit of background.
You gave
Dear,
me the
'cause
nominee
obviously-
list, and I wasn't on it. First
Yes,
of all,
because we were doing this.
Switch.
Yeah, because we're doing this podcast, obviously,
drama.
Mia gets to see the scripts and stuff in advance. So we were prepping to do the podcast where we revealed all the nominees, and I pulled her name off of the list and let her see that list. And then but the presentation that we did and the script that Shay had, who was reading the nominees out, had Mia's name in there because I just wanted to add a little bit of drama to the evening.
I can tell you how I felt when I found out I was nominated. I was genuinely surprised, and that's and honored, honestly, just to be included amongst like a list of such amazing people. Like I've got some friends on here. I just just some of these creators are like so good at what they do, and to be included amongst them is a very weird feeling. Like makes me feel like a somebody. But yeah, and I'm just like I was incredibly honored just to be nominated. Honestly, do you want more from me?
No, I was being polite and letting Deer talk, but
okay.
I was just letting that sink in. I think that's really nice. Well, me nominated, it feels correct. No, I'm just kidding. Could you imagine? I'm not humble at all.
Yeah.
I
deserve everything.
Well, you are American.
I'm American and I won't apologize. No, it was a surprise, and it just felt like an honor. I don't think it felt like it felt so cool to be on this big list of all these people, and like so many people that I know and am friends with and that I think the world of, and to be included in such an iconic list, like it was just really cool, and it felt amazing because I feel like so many of us on this list, like we stream because it's important to us, and it lets us as individuals be seen and be heard, but also all of us on this list are doing something that's bigger than ourselves and trying to represent a community to be able to let people know that they can be themselves and they can be successful and they can be embraced and they can be celebrated and stuff like that. And to be recognized in that way, I'm just proud of everybody all the way down the list. I'm just proud of all of them. And when I speak about myself, it's like I put drag on Twitch because I didn't see it happening, and I felt like I was capable of it, and it was something I felt passionate about, and it's inspired hundreds of people. And I'm not saying just me, like myself, and also the other people doing drag and putting it into the world in ways that you might not have seen someone do it, but like you wanted to do it. Like it's capable of inspiring people, and it's beautiful to see people run with it.
Let's use that then, and to keep sort of chatting about you. Then we'll sort of move into your interview section.
Sure.
Let's start from the start. When did you start streaming, and what sort of was the lever to sort of get you into it?
I started 4 years ago. This will be the 5th year, but in the fall. I started in 2016, and it was just like I said, like I didn't see drag happening on Twitch. I had found like people like 8-Bit Dylan and people like I Am Brandon. Like I saw gay people streaming, and I'm gay. Out of drag, I'm gay. But I didn't see drag happening. I didn't see theatrics happening. I didn't see like what I wanted to do. So I was like, well, I don't see it happening, so let me do it, and I can start it off. Because drag for forever has been a club kind of thing, and it's a TV kind of thing, and it's like you need a venue to showcase your performance. But to me, drag in itself is a performance, putting yourself into costumes and exposing yourself like in this visual way is a performance. And so I just wanted to do Let's Plays, and I wanted to play video games, and I wanted to be a personality, but in drag. And the easiest references for drag are obviously TV drags. And so people from TV that inspire me are like Trixie Mattel and RuPaul and Miss Fame and stuff like that. I think season 7 is the best season, the best people. But
we'll have a chat about that someone.
You can disagree, it's fine. I think that it's inspiring to see people put themselves into circumstance that they might not have a reference for. So like RuPaul starting a TV show about drag, RuPaul being a mainstream personality, not just in clubs, Trixie Mattel going to venues and singing folk music, like Miss Fame being a fashion model in Paris. Like it just is inspiring to me to see people taking that idea of drag and juxtaposing it in a way that inspires them in their own individual way.
One thing I have noticed over like time, especially like the last couple of years, like the blow up of like drag on Twitch in general. What do you think makes it so like appealing for people to interact with and get into? What changed, other than I'm assuming like RuPaul played a big part in that in terms of the show, but what can you see as the appeal of drag in general for those who are not so aware?
Do you mean on Twitch or literally in general of doing it? And
dealer's choice. What would you like? Which direction would you like to go with that?
So for me personally, the appeal of drag is that since I was a little kid, I was told boys can't be feminine, boys can't play with Barbies, boys can't wear makeup, boys can't have long hair, like all of these oppressive values based on gender. Drag breaks those down. So whether you're a king, you're a queen, you are a monarch, you're not gendered, or if you're very, very dramatically, stereotypically gendered, it's like you are breaking down those taboo things that you were told that you can't do. And that's the appeal to it. That's the expressive part of it, is that I'm not supposed to be flamboyant, I'm not supposed to be feminine, but here I am and I'm wearing it proudly and I'm doing things, I'm working, I'm getting paid, I'm paying my bills, I'm changing lives, I'm making friendships, like all these different things that like society tells you you're not supposed to achieve those things doing something you're not supposed to do. That's for me. And I think that extends to other people too. It's like you're told to fit in a box, and when you can proudly break down the sides of those boxes, it feels good. You feel empowered.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I get that completely, and it's an art form, and it's a very old art form, and I think it's something that sort of obviously has had a bad rap over the last few years, and I think that RuPaul and others managed to sort of like drag it out of that box, and I think put it back into the mainstream again.
What's interesting to your point is that like for me as a man out of drag. Drag enables me to break down those barriers and be myself.
Yep.
But it's funny because sometimes within our own community, people are put like back into a box. It's like, well, a drag queen has to be a man that gets into feminine drags, but like anyone can be a drag artist because the new taboo is if you're a woman doing drag queen things, if you're a man doing drag king things, or if you are non-binary and you don't really fit in either. Like people are trying to constantly put you into boxes, and we have to constantly keep breaking down those barriers and proving them wrong and doing our thing and being proud.
Absolutely. Yeah, it is really refreshing. I mean, it's taken its time, but I think it's finally in the mainstream, at least through our sort of major TV shows. It is good now that we're starting to see bio queens, drag kings, trans queens sort of built up into it as well. So I think it is good that we're starting to push through that. I had a question around makeup, actually. So I'm really, really curious. So drag makeup, do you paint differently if you're on a stream than if you would if you're in real life? Because I've noticed, and it might just be an aesthetical choice, but it's aesthetical. But
the new word.
I've been looking at. I'm making shit up. But I've just noticed that yourself and Evo, you have like white sort of highlights in places on lips and noses and stuff that maybe I haven't seen that happen in real life.
Sure. Well, I'm not sure about Evo, but the reason why I do it is I went to school for illustration. And so what inspires me, even when I'm playing games, like my favorite games are ones with dramatic lighting. So like just as a dumb example, like I love Mario Kart 8 and I love Super Smash Bros. Because they use light in such dynamic ways. Like you can play a regular Mario game and it's all very cartoony, it's all very flat, which I can appreciate also. But I love superimposing and faking lighting. Like when I was a kid, I had these toys from Resource, which is like defunct, like they don't make that company doesn't exist anymore, but they had Street Fighter figures, they had figures on all these different properties, and they would paint the lighting on them. Like they were shaded really dramatically on the muscles and on the sides of them and stuff, and like they were highlighted with paint on the front of their faces and stuff like that. And so I use makeup to evoke and play with light. And so when it comes to my lips and my nose, like I'm shading them in certain ways to make them perceived in a certain way. And so when you add the shadow, but also add the highlight in white, you can exaggerate it even further. And also, I love makeup. I worked for MAC Cosmetics for like forever. And when you're bored...
That's something we're actually going to bring up, actually. Yeah.
I love it.
That's Mia's next question.
I love makeup. I love MAC. I love lots of different brands. But I worked at MAC for a really long time. And when you were trying to fill in like gaps of time where you don't have a customer, you would paint makeup on a face chart, which was like a woman's face, just like, you know, the jawline, the eye shape, the nose, the lips. But you'd fill it in with color, and you could take it really far and like really contour and highlight just using light and using placement on a page. And so I like that idea, and I sort of like took that idea from being makeup on a piece of paper to my face and retained some of the control of the light and the highlights and stuff like that. And I would say that Eva would probably say the same thing. Like it's just about a dynamic play of lights and darks and highlights and contours, because you can really achieve the fully realized effect by painting on the light.
Cute.
Yeah, it's funny. Again, you mentioned your collaboration with MAC Cosmetics.
Yes.
Would you like to do more stuff like that in the future? Like, is there a particular company that you'd want to work with in that fashion? Like, where do you see that kind of stuff going? Is there more collaborations in the future, and who would that be with?
I would absolutely love to do collaborations with makeup brands. Like that's just a dream come true, because I've been a makeup artist for 13 years. And when I started doing makeup, I wanted to be a model. I wanted to do this. I wanted to do that. But then there came a certain point of time where I was like, I don't want to be the focus. I want to be behind the camera. I want to be like doing the model's makeup. Then I step off and the model shows the work. But I've sort of come back and reclaimed that, like, I want to be the center of attention. So I would love to do collaborations like that. I've only had MAC flew me. It was when I worked for the company, but they offered to fly me to New York to headquarters and do my drag, because I didn't do my drag at work. That would be my separate boy time, and then I'd have my DEERE drag time completely separate. And it was cool to mix them together. Besides that, ColourPop sent me their Animal Crossing collection. House Labs has sent me a few things.
Oh, that's awesome.
Sugar Pill has sent me a few things, but I would love to work with Anastasia or Sugar Pill or MAC, like doing something more hands-on than just like, oh, send me some of your product.
Yeah. That sounds awesome, actually. Yeah, I'd love
Makeup's
that
just
for you.
so inspiring. Makeup is so cool.
Yeah.
It's awesome to just put literally sludge and dirt on your face, and then you look different, and the world perceives you different too. I think that is such a cool thing. Makeup is so cool to me.
Absolutely terrible at it myself.
You look gorgeous. I've been looking at your lip color, Gorge.
If we ever get together, you'll have to do mine sometime. Like,
I would love it.
And go full bearded queen for me.
Yes, boom, let's do it. Would you want, Mia, would you want a soft, like, would you want me to give you the soft glam, or would you want me to, like, yes God drags house down?
Oh, if we're doing it, we better go all out. Yes, definitely.
Love it. Boom. Blonde wig.
Yeah. That would be fantastic. I very much enjoy that.
I just love makeup. Makeup is so cool. The power of makeup, it's just stunning.
I adore watching sort of makeup tutorials and stuff, tricksy stuff that she does on her YouTube. It's just the power of transformation. It gets me every time. It's a slightly overused phrase, but do you find that your drag is an armor? Because obviously you spoke about in your acceptance speech, you speak about sort of taking on the trolls. Do you find that drag gives you that confidence and that armor to sort of protect yourself in that battle?
Absolutely, yes. So like I mentioned, like taking those things that people nitpick or don't like about you or tell you to correct, like taking those things and amplifying them into something that you're proud of. Like I believe that like to my core. Like out of drag, I would say even in drag, I'm sort of reserved. I'm not that out there and I'm not that crazy, but like out of drag, I'm very shy and introverted, and drag allows me, even if it's just a little bit, it allows me to get out of my shell and be more myself and like be able to say the things that I might be afraid to say, or be present for the things that I would normally run away from. Like it gives me that extra push and that extra boost to put my art and my personality and all the things that I want to show the world. It allows me to put them out there. And that's something that I think goes. Oh no, you say your thing first.
I was gonna say, would you say like a foundation could be considered a courage in a tube?
Yes, a lipstick, any sort of makeup item. Like I think when it comes to makeup, it's all personal, but like anyone out there that enjoys makeup, there's that one thing that like just makes them feel complete or correct or just ready to take on the world. And like really like it could be foundation, it could be lipstick, it could be mascara, it can be like literally anything. It could be your favorite hoodie, whatever it is that you put on to like feel your best is that little push that you need. And I think that drag really like is the full 9 yards or whatever the expression is. Like that's the entire extra push. I find myself a slightly confident person anyway, but I was put into drag by a retired old hag of a drag queen. It was me.
No. It was in Key West, so we were sort of dealing with the fact it was like an 80% humidity anyway.
Wow, and that is not good weather for
which
drag.
It's not great, and the eyebrows couldn't stick down.
No.
But even as shit as I was looking, I was sort of stomping around. It was a bare weekend. I was stomping around the swimming pool in full glam, completely living my best life. So I love it. It's the sort of there's a picture floating around somewhere on Instagram or something. But it's just even as rough as that I looked in that, it still kind of gives you this weird kind of confidence boost.
Absolutely, that's something that you'll find with 99% of drag performers, or people that want or even people like yourself, like you look up to drag or you enjoy drag. When you're put into drags for the first time, even if you look like crap, I looked like crap, okay? I looked like crap, but the first time it's like you literally have no self-awareness and it goes over your head. Like all those little things that are wrong with it, it's just you feel your puss down deep in your soul and nobody can touch you. And I think that like permeates drag, whether you're starting it for the first time or you've been doing it for 20 years. Like, it just gives you that boost to take on the world. And I think I wanted to mention, Mia, you had mentioned like, why is drag so mainstream or becoming popular or to that effect? The reason why it's popular on Twitch, not just because of COVID, it has had a boom from COVID happening because people are stuck in their homes and they still want to be expressive. They still want to do their art, and there's an audience for it, a bigger audience than there's ever been. But the reason that it happened for me and happened for so many people like the Stream Queens, it's because no matter where you live in the whole world, if you've got time to yourself in your room and you've got a camera and you've got a mic, like you can do drag and you can have an outlet for that part of yourself that, depending on your home life or your friends or your family or your work or the geographic place where you're at, like if it's not okay to do it at that time, you can put it on the internet and people can still see it and enjoy it and love it.
Yeah. It's funny that you talked about well, we mentioned like again using drag as kind of like an armor and like dealing with trolls and all kinds of horribleness, especially on Twitch as a platform. I actually noticed when you got the PogChamp for that period of time that you jumped into the trenches on Twitter and you were literally like engaging with the people, the naysayers and stuff, and you're just being like so like gracious about it and just being like, yeah, well, you know, you weren't like attacking them or anything like that, or even defending yourself. You were literally like almost trying to like bring them around to be like, okay, I get that you've got a problem with it, but like maybe look at it a different way. That was absolutely fantastic to see. Obviously some people would be very, very combative in that situation, as you know, that's absolutely fine too, because trolls be trolls. But
for sure,
with that situation and situations like that, are there any particular challenges that come with being that visible as an LGBTQ streamer on the platform?
Well, I firstly want to say, anyone that comes to me and is like, you're wearing a lot of makeup, like you are this way, you're that way, like visually, like I'm pretty sure I know what I look like. Like I took several hours to put this on. So it's not a surprise to me that I'm wearing heavy makeup. It's not a surprise to me that my hair is big. It's not a surprise to me that I have fake boobs. Like it's not a surprise to me. I paid for all of it. I put it on myself. So anything that they're saying is not a surprise to me. And I grew up effeminate in the United States where like, you know, you're like little boys aren't supposed to be effeminate. You're not supposed to play with the Barbie dolls, stuff like that I said earlier. So anything that someone says to me on the internet, like I've heard it before and it's not a surprise. And like, if those things were important to me, I wouldn't put drag on myself. I wouldn't become a target for this harassment that people want to, that people look like, people turn on the computer and look for people that look like me to make fun of.
Yeah.
So, not a surprise. Don't care. Don't need your opinion. But if you do give me your opinion, thank you for the engagement.
Exactly. Yeah. Use the haters to your advantage.
Yeah. I think that it's like a joke because like drag to me is serious enough where it's my job and it's what I put my time and my money and everything that I do towards, but it's not so serious that like I can't take a joke, that I can't just roll with the punches. The people that like really take it seriously, like this shouldn't be on the internet, or like I don't want a child to see this, or like that's a man, when it gets really transphobic, like I have a problem with it, but they're just exposing themselves for the joke that they are. They're trying to make me out to be the butt of the joke, but they're the real joke because I know now that I don't want to ever interact with that person. I want to interact with the people that like it or like want to know more about it, or at least respectful, because at least a lot of the criticism was transphobic and rude and homophobic and awful and terrible, but there was a lot of commentary that were like, that doesn't capture the original Pog emote, and I think that that's fair. I think it's fair to compare and contrast things like that, but it's like have some dignity.
Yeah, I mean it's a little bit of a stupid thing to complain about, though. It's obviously, you know, the point isn't necessarily matching the emote one for one, otherwise they'd only choose like some white supremacist to do the next emote. So yeah, it's worth like shaking up a little there and actually like offering. I actually love what they did with that and like offering like more diverse members of the community into that situation.
Absolutely,
that was good to see.
I obviously want to further my career, so I will not say no to Twitch, but I also think at the same time, I am very cognizant and aware of the fact that I can have the ability to represent my community with the Gayming Awards, with the LGBTQIA2+ community tag, and etc. The drag community. Like I have so many people that I can represent with putting myself out there, and so I will absolutely graciously take the offer so that people can feel represented, because for as many people hate it, like there were a lot of people that were trying to ratio that post And ratioing is like when something is commented on more or retweeted more than it's liked, and that means it's a bad thing. But that post got thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of likes, and the comments were only in the 3K. So like more people liked it than they didn't.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, exactly. And it was, and it's not a topic for now, obviously, because we can probably sit for the rest of the evening talking about it. But it was a ballsy move by Twitch to sort of throw or be perceived to throw sort of diverse communities sort of under that pressure. But I think you stood up to it well, and I think you absorbed a lot of the shit. And there was even some comments obviously made at the Gayming Awards as well. Like on Twitter afterwards, I think, and it was just amusing sort of watching you sort of troll up and down and sort of go back at everybody, and just if they come to your space, you're allowed to reply to them. And it's funny that hardly any of them reply back to you because they've lost that power.
Some of the ones reply back to me and they're like, lol, how much time do you have? Like you're verified, why do you have the time? And I'm like, you commented to me. like
I'm just being polite.
Why wouldn't I reply back to someone that's tagging me on stuff? Like, I mean, if you're tagging somebody, why would you be surprised if they responded, whether it's good or bad?
Exactly.
I mean, you're putting it on
see
my
the
timeline.
inherent irony in them saying that when they took the time to go out and try and make somebody's day a little bit worse, which is like you're spending your time in a much better way than they are, which is, you know, that's the point.
And I'm a content creator. I have nothing going on till I stream. So
I have got nothing on. I can sit here talking to you for the rest of the evening if I want to.
Yeah.
You mentioned the Stream Queens a couple of times. That's obviously the Twitch team. What inspired you to get that started, and how did that all come about?
Well, in 2016 is when I started, and I did not see a lot of drag happening. If I'm honest, I saw no drag happening when I started, like the day I started, a few months into starting. But like, it's because discoverability was not that great on Twitch, and it still could be better, but at least like now we have we have a drag tag. I mean, we had communities back then, but also anyone could start a community. So like I joined the LGBTQIA plus community, but if you type that in, like if someone didn't like that one, they could start their own. Like it could like keep going and going. So it's discoverability was still tough. And so when I first started, I saw no one at all. But I discovered Drag Trashly and Elix and Chalora, and Samira Close is really popular in Brazil. And it just started to become more and more obvious that like people want to consume drag, people want to come and talk to a drag queen live or a drag king live, or just drag artists. They want to interact with them. So I wanted to keep rolling with it, and I soon discovered that when you're partnered, you can create a team yourself. Only partners can make teams. So then I made it like my own goal that I would talk about on stream. I'm like, when I'm partnered, there's going to be a drag team to unify and promote discoverability of drag artists. And so when I became partnered in 2018, there it was. We made it, and we've got 67 members. We've got more and more members all the time, because drag at its core is self-expression, but it's also become lucrative too. So people can do their drag and get a paycheck and get coin and be able to support their drag even further, especially on Twitch, because it's so accessible.
Are there any particular like places you'd like to take that Twitch team in the future? Like do specific like events and things like that, like either like digitally or in real life? Permitting, obviously. Like, well, what do you see the future as for stream? For the Stream Queens. Sorry.
What a beautiful and attractive question. Thank you so much for asking it. Actually, right now, today, on our official twitch.tv/Stream Queens channel, it's happening right now. We have a Black History Month event called Reclaiming My Time. It's organized by all of our Black members, and it includes so many collaborators of both the drag world as well as the Twitch world, but just celebrating Blackness and beautifulness. Today's the third day, so it's the last day, but all of the previous days, it was a 3-day event, is on the channel if anyone wants to check it out. And in December, we had Stream Queens Con, which was actually so much fun. It was a 4-day event. It was over 40 hours of just nonstop drag and queer content. And all those VODs are on our channel also. But it's like literally panel after panel after panel after panel. Like it's just so much cool stuff. And Reclaiming My Time is happening right now. I believe it's going on all day.
Cute.
But I would love to be able to do stuff in person. I've been able to have a Stream Queens panel at TwitchCon, and I'd love to have a sequel.
Nice.
That was the most packed room, bitch. Like it was like literally we had people waiting outside our room trying to get in, and it was broadcast on Twitch, and everyone just loved it. It was just so cool. I'd love to have meetups or in-person shows. It depends on what happens, but right now we're focusing on periodic events on our official channel where we can group up together and celebrate things as a team.
Cute. Well, I'm really looking forward to that. I tried to put the link to the Stream Queens in the chat. That didn't work. I put a V in, and Miabyte then put the right one in. So click on the Miabyte links, not my one. Once the pandemic is under control, and I think we're getting there, we obviously just talked about the sort of potential for sort of like live meetups and stuff. But do you have personally any plans for sort of things going forward, like either on or off stream?
Well, if the whole world recovers and it's fine and it's returned to normal, I doubt that anything would be normal for a while now. At least our normal before. But I would love to visit the UK for the Gayming Awards 2022.
Definitely.
That'd be dope.
I would love to get back to conventions. I love conventions because I can meet people that like resonate with me as a person and me with my content, and I love meeting them. I love meeting stream queens and other streamers in real life, people that I've known for a while in real life. I would love to just go to a restaurant and have a drink at a table that isn't outside.
I'm with you there. Yeah, that'd be fantastic.
We haven't had I personally, but it's the same for our area of the UK. We haven't had the ability to have a drink in person since August last year. Like most of our hospitality has been closed since September, all the way through to now.
I walked into McDonald's the other day and they threw me out saying they were drive-through only. I was so sad.
Why did they have the doors?
Buy a car, bitch.
Yeah. I was just going to walk through the drive-through instead. I was so sad. They had like a triple cheeseburger now, and I just wanted to try one. Just one. I have not had anything in over a year at this point, and I'm just like...
They're like
from McDonald's. You've had other food.
From McDonald's, yeah. I've had food in general.
You haven't eaten recently. I would just love to just have in-person things, but for me and drag, I would love to make like in-person appearances, not just at cons, like at bars or something. But that gets into a weird area where it's like, I get in drag 5 days a week, and it's for my work. And so if I'm going to a club, that's a 6th day in drag, which wouldn't be for work unless they booked me. But I don't know if I want bookings, so it's just like a weird place. But I'd figure it out if it was possible.
I can imagine, yeah. Or maybe you can convince Twitch to do a drag show at the next TwitchCon, maybe. Just a full-on drag show with all the content creators.
That is... stay tuned.
Oh. Heard it here first, everybody.
We always finish our interview with quick fire questions. So it's snappy. It's the first thing that comes to your mind. And yeah. So Mia, do you want to kick off?
Yeah, of course. Quick fire questions. Remember, these are just the first thing off the top of your head. You don't have to think about this unless you really want to, in which case we're just going to put more pressure on you anyway. Quick, snappy, let's go. What was your favorite game this last year?
This last year, Animal Crossing.
Cool. What was the one game that defined your childhood?
Mortal Kombat 2.
Wow, that was fast.
Nice.
Who's your favorite video game character?
Melina.
Nice.
Okay.
What game do you most want a sequel to?
Alien Isolation.
Who would be your dream stream guest?
Lady Gaga.
Nice.
We've heard that before, haven't we?
We have had. Gaga has made an appearance on this podcast.
Gaga's so good.
Verbally. And what game are you most looking forward to coming out?
There's nothing really on my radar. Alien Isolation 2?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, eventually. That'll be the thing. We're starting it now. The petition for Alien Isolation 2. Let's go.
Oh. Redacted. Go back. Woo. Resident Evil 8 with that tall lady.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Lady
something or another.
Dimitrescu.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And if it's rumors, if we're talking rumors, then Silent Hill sequel or Resident Evil Outbreak sequel. But I feel like Resident Evil Outbreak would never get a sequel, but like it was apparently on a list somewhere. So I'm hoping, but it's doubtful for me.
Yeah, we live in hope. Big Resident Evil fan here as well. So yeah, I'm right there with you. So last quick fire question, which doesn't have to be quick fire. You can get into this as much as you want. Where can people find your content, and what have you got coming up on the channel?
Do you like drag? Do you like video games? Well, never fear, DEERE is here. You can find me at twitch.tv/DEERE. I'll definitely be playing Dead by Daylight until forever. I just like scary games, so I will play random scary games whenever I feel like it. Sometimes they're scheduled, sometimes they are collaborations, but nothing quite on my radar at the moment. So Dead by Daylight, and then whatever game people recommend to me. I played at Dead of Night the other day. Oh my god, that was crazy.
Ooh.
Have you ever played that?
I have no idea what it's about. I kind of want to ask what it's about now.
Do you know point and click adventures?
Yes,
like
kind of.
Island, Day of the Tentacle.
Yeah, like those old LucasArts awesome ones. Yeah.
So have you ever heard of Harvester?
I have not. No.
It's fucked. Don't play it. But,
okay, I won't.
It's a live action point and click. So like the world is like a CGI/photographed place. And so that's what this game is. You're like in a hotel, and half of it is photographs and half of it is CGI. But the people that you interact with are real life like videos. Like it's an FM. It's an FM.
Yeah, it's like an FMV game.
Like,
I think I saw the trailer for this. It looks amazing, actually. Yeah.
It was so cool. It's so weird. If you like jump scares, it is just all jump scares. Jump scares don't really scare me, so I'm just like, that didn't scare me. But
what was that called again? Just so I can put it in my brain.
At Dead of Night. And it is very interesting. It's like you're uncovering a mystery on why this man is so mad.
Ooh, yeah. It's like the hotel owner or something like that from the trailer I saw. Yeah.
You're in a hotel. This guy is attacking you. He kidnapped your friends and locked them in rooms, and you're trying to figure out what set him off, what happened in this hotel, what's the history of it, what led him to be the way he is today, and how can we escape?
Yeah. So make sure you go over to the channel and check out the VOD for that. I'm assuming it's up there at the moment. So yeah. Totally do that.
Cute. Awesome. DEERE, thank you so much for joining us today. That's the end of our podcast.
It is
so much. Thank you for having me. It's been such a pleasure.
It's been an absolute pleasure and an honor for your award-winningness on the show.
I'm so proud. Thank you.
I will say, I'm just going to wrap this up as I usually do by saying thank you so much for joining us on this episode, this very, very special episode of the Gayming Podcast Live. We will be back in about 2 weeks' time, as per usual. In the meantime, don't forget to keep reading Gayming Magazine. And you can also go to gaymingmag.com/Discord and join the Discord and check out all the cute, awesome stuff that's on there until you see us again. So, yeah. Come and interact with us there too. Right. Without further ado, we are done. So I hope you all have a fantastic day, night, morning, evening, whatever time it is for you. And we'll see you all next time. Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.